Hey there, and welcome to Tales by June, where hearts break, heal, and sometimes seek revenge. Let's begin today's story.
Hey, before we begin, let me know where you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories travel. And if you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. The champagne flute slipped from my hand the moment I saw him. Crystal shattered across the marble floor, sharp echoes cutting through the laughter and music. No one noticed at first. Why would they? People were too busy swaying to the beat, raising their glasses, clinking them in celebration of what was supposed to be our night. Our anniversary. 5 years of marriage. 5 years of promises, of whispered dreams in the dark. And there he was, my husband. My whole world. His lips pressed against another woman's in the shadows of the very ballroom where our friends toasted us. The room didn't go silent. No, that would have been merciful. The music kept pulsing, the laughter kept swelling, but in my chest, it was nothing but ringing. White noise. A fracture that started small and spread like wildfire. In that instant, I felt something in me die, something pure and trusting. I'll come back to that moment because it was the night I buried my old self. But before I tell you how I became the woman who would never forgive so easily, I need to take you back. Back to where it all began. Before the lies, before the shadows. Back to the girl who still believed in forever. I grew up in a small town outside of Chicago. My father, Richard Carter, was the kind of man people admired from a distance. Sharp suits, sharper mind. A businessman through and through, the type who could walk into a room and make everyone straighten their posture without saying a word. But to me, he was just dad. Stern? Yes. But soft with me in ways he never showed the world. My mother, gentle and warm, was the glue that held us together until she passed away when I was 15. After that, it was just dad and me, learning how to navigate grief in silence. He never remarried, and I never stopped missing her. I was a quiet child, always reading, always dreaming about the kind of love my parents once shared, the kind that looked effortless, the kind that could survive storms. And then when I was 22, I met Ethan. It was my first job out of college. I'd landed an assistant position at a marketing firm in the city. The office was buzzing, phones ringing, printers spitting out reports. I was nervous, clutching my notebook like it was a lifeline, when he walked in. Ethan Reynolds. Tall, confident, with that kind of smile that felt like it was aimed only at you. His hair was dark, neatly styled, his tie a little crooked in a way that made him look less intimidating than the others. He was a senior account manager, already on his way up the ladder. "First day?" he asked me, pausing at my desk. I nodded, cheeks burning. "Is it that obvious?" He chuckled. "Only because you're clutching that notebook like someone's about to steal it." That was how it started. Simple. Easy. A kindness in a room full of strangers. He showed me where the coffee machine was, walked me through my first assignment, and before I knew it, lunch breaks turned into inside jokes, and late nights at the office turned into long conversations about everything: family, dreams, fears. He made me feel seen. Not just another face in the office, not just Richard Carter's daughter, but me. Our first date was nothing glamorous. A little Italian place tucked in the corner of the city, red checkered tablecloths, candlelight dancing between us. I remember the way he leaned in, listening like every word I said mattered. "Do you ever think about forever?" I asked him that night, more curious than cautious. He grinned, that crooked tie gone now, top button undone. "Only every day." It wasn't a line. I believed him. And maybe that was my first mistake, believing too easily. The years that followed were golden. He met my father, who, to my surprise, actually approved of him. "The boy's got ambition," Dad said. "Don't let him go." Ethan proposed after 2 years, under the city lights, ring in hand, eyes shining with what I thought was love. I said yes without hesitation. Our wedding was straight out of a dream. White roses, soft music, everyone we loved, gathered in one place. When he kissed me at the altar, I thought I was the luckiest woman alive. For a while, it was everything I imagined. Lazy Sunday mornings, cooking dinner together, planning vacations we couldn't always afford. We laughed, we loved, we built a life. But somewhere around year 4, something shifted. It was subtle at first. Longer hours at the office, more business trips. His phone always face down on the table. "Just work," he'd say when I asked. "Don't worry, Claire." I wanted to believe him. I did believe him, until the missed calls, the faint smell of perfume that wasn't mine, the way his eyes sometimes wandered in crowded rooms. I told myself it was stress, that marriages went through phases. But late at night, when I lay beside him and he turned away, my heart whispered the truth I didn't want to hear. I was losing him. And on the night of our 5th anniversary, I learned I already had. The ballroom shimmered under chandeliers, their golden light reflecting off crystal glasses and polished marble. Laughter rose like waves, music pulsed through hidden speakers, and waiters weaved between clusters of guests with trays of champagne. It was the kind of night that looked flawless from the outside. Our friends had gathered to celebrate us. 5 years of marriage. 5 years of what they thought was love, of what I thought was unbreakable. I had just stepped away from the crowd to catch my breath. My dress, a deep emerald satin, clung to me like a second skin. My father had insisted on hosting the party, sparing no expense, because in his words, when people look at you and Ethan, they should see success. They should see strength. I was still smiling when I saw him. Ethan, my husband, his hand on the curve of a woman's back, his head bent low, his lips pressed against hers. At first, I thought maybe I was imagining it. Maybe the champagne had gone to my head. But then she laughed, that soft, breathy sound that wasn't mine. Her fingers curled into his jacket, and he didn't pull away. That's when the flute slipped from my hand. The sound of shattering glass was sharp, merciless, but drowned quickly by the music. I stood frozen, shards glittering at my feet, my hand trembling in the air where the glass had been. I felt like I was watching it happen from outside my body. The world kept moving, but inside me, something cracked so violently I swore everyone should have heard it. Claire? Are you all right? It was Hannah, one of my closest friends, her brows knitted in concern. She reached for my arm, but I pulled away, my eyes still locked on the shadows where Ethan lingered with her. Excuse me, I muttered, my voice unrecognizable even to me. I moved before I could lose my nerve, weaving through the crowd, past the laughter, past the congratulations, until I reached them. Ethan's head snapped up when he saw me. His lips glistened. Her lipstick smeared faintly on the corner of his mouth. For a heartbeat, none of us spoke. The music swelled. People laughed, oblivious. But between us, silence roared. Claire, he began. Don't. My voice shook, but it cut like glass. The woman, she couldn't have been more than 25, with glossy hair and a dress that fit her like it was tailored for this exact betrayal, stepped back, eyes wide. I should. Go, she whispered, scurrying away before I could even demand her name. Ethan reached for me, but I stepped back. Don't you dare touch me, I spat. My chest burned, and my eyes stung, but I wouldn't let him see me cry. Not here. Not tonight. We drove home in silence. The kind of silence that pressed heavy against the windows, suffocating. He kept glancing at me, opening his mouth as if to speak, then closing it again. When we finally pulled into the driveway, I got out before he even turned off the engine. My heels clicked against the pavement, a sharp, yet angry rhythm. Inside, I tore the emerald dress from my body, letting it pool on the floor like shed skin. I stood in front of the mirror, staring at the woman looking back. Mascara smudged, shoulders trembling, eyes hollow. That was the night I buried her, the woman who believed love was forever. Claire, please, Ethan said, stepping into the bedroom. His tie was gone, his shirt collar open, but the smell of her perfume still clung to him. I turned, arms crossed over my chest. How long? He froze. What? How long have you been sleeping with her? My voice cracked on the word, but I refused to lower my eyes. He scrubbed a hand over his face. It's not what you think. Don't you dare insult me with that cliché. My nails dug into my arms. How long, Ethan? Silence stretched, heavy and cruel. Finally, he whispered, a few months. The world tilted. My knees weakened, but I held myself upright by sheer will. Months. While I cooked him dinners, while we made love, while we toasted to our dreams, he was giving pieces of himself to someone else. Why? I asked, the word barely a breath. He looked away, shame flickering across his features. I don't know. I just felt trapped. We were comfortable, predictable, and she was exciting. The words sliced through me, deeper than any blade. Comfortable? I repeated, my voice trembling. That's what our marriage was to you? Predictable? He reached for me again, but I stepped back, a sob clawing at my throat. Don't, I said, firmer this time. You don't get to touch me. Not anymore. When he finally fell asleep on the couch, I sat in the dark, phone in hand. My father's number glowed on the screen. I hesitated. Dad had always been protective, always suspicious of Ethan's charm. He'd warned me once, quietly, that ambition like Ethan's could turn cold. I hadn't listened. But now I needed him. With trembling fingers, I pressed call. The line rang once, twice, then his voice came through, steady as always. Claire? It's late. What's wrong? And just like that, the dam broke. Dad, I whispered, my voice breaking. He cheated. Ethan cheated on me. There was silence on the other end, but not the kind that came from shock. No, this was sharper. Calculated. I see, Dad said finally, his tone colder than I'd ever heard. Then it's time we remind him what it means to cross a Carter. That was the night it all began. The night Ethan Reynolds lost me. The night he began to lose everything. The next morning, I woke to the sound of clinking dishes in the kitchen. For a split second, I forgot. For a split second, I thought it was just another Sunday morning. Ethan making coffee, humming under his breath, ready to kiss me good morning. Then reality punched me square in the chest. I sat up, staring at the empty space beside me. The couch downstairs creaked, and I remembered. He'd slept there after his half-hearted apologies and pathetic excuses. I dragged myself into the shower, the hot water stinging my skin, washing away the remnants of mascara from last night. When I looked in the mirror afterward, my reflection startled me. My eyes were red, but something else burned there too. Anger. Cold, hard, and dangerous. By the time I walked into the kitchen, I had decided he wasn't going to break me. Claire! Ethan started the moment I appeared, his voice soft, pleading. He was sitting at the counter with 2 mugs of coffee, like some warped attempt at normalcy. I ignored him, poured myself water, and leaned against the counter. We need to talk, he said. I sipped my water, then set it down. No, you need to talk. I'll listen. For now. He sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. What I did was wrong. I know that. I don't even have an excuse. You already gave me one, I said bitterly. We were comfortable. His jaw tightened. I panicked, Claire. I felt stuck. And she was just a distraction. She doesn't mean anything to me. A humorless laugh escaped me. A few months of lying, sneaking around, and kissing her in the shadows of our anniversary party, that's not nothing, Ethan. That's betrayal. He flinched, but I didn't stop. You shattered something that doesn't get put back together. Do you understand that? His eyes filled with desperation. I don't want to lose you. I'll end it with her. I'll prove it to you. Just give me a chance. I tilted my head, studying him. A part of me still ached for the man I once loved, but the larger part, the stronger part, remembered the lipstick smeared on his mouth, the way he said comfortable like it was a curse. I smiled coldly. You already lost me, Ethan. You just don't know it yet. That afternoon, I drove to my father's house. The Carter estate was a fortress of glass and stone, perched on the edge of the lake, surrounded by tall gates. I'd grown up here, learning early that power wasn't given. It was taken. Dad was waiting for me in his study, the faint smell of cigars lingering in the air. He looked up from his desk, his sharp eyes softening only slightly when he saw me. Sit, he said. I did. For the first time in years, I felt like a child again, waiting for his guidance. Tell me everything, he said. So I did. Every detail. The shadows at the party, the lipstick, the confession. By the time I finished, my hands were trembling, but my father's expression hadn't changed. Do you still love him? He asked finally. The question cut deeper than I expected. I swallowed. I don't know. I think I love the memory of him, the man he used to be, but not this. He nodded once. Good. Because love makes you weak, and you can't afford weakness if you want revenge. I leaned forward. I don't want to just leave him, Dad. I want him to pay. I want him to feel what I felt. To lose everything he thinks makes him untouchable. For the first time that day, my father smiled. A sharp, dangerous smile that reminded me just how ruthless he could be. Then we'll destroy him, he said simply. The plan started small. Subtle. My father was a man of influence, and Ethan's career, his pride, was built on connections. My father had helped open doors for him once, smoothing the path as he climbed the ladder at the marketing firm. Now, those same doors would quietly slam shut. First, a whisper in the right ear, a seed of doubt planted in a board member's mind. Ethan's name, once spoken with admiration, now laced with suspicion. Next, a delay in a big client account. Nothing obvious, just enough to frustrate him, to make his bosses question his reliability. Meanwhile, I played my role perfectly, the dutiful wife who forgave. I smiled at him, cooked dinner, even let him hold my hand in public. But at night, when he fell asleep beside me, I lay awake, my heart pounding with anticipation. Because I knew. I knew the walls were closing in, and he didn't have a clue. One evening, about 2 weeks later, Ethan came home later than usual. His tie was loose, his hair disheveled. He dropped his briefcase by the door and collapsed onto the couch with a groan. "Rough day?" I asked sweetly, setting down the glass of wine I'd poured for him. "You have no idea," he muttered, downing half the glass in one swallow. "Everything's falling apart at work. Clients are backing out, my boss is breathing down my neck. I don't even know what's happening." I sat beside him, stroking his arm. "I'm sure it's just a phase. You're good at what you do. They'll see that." He leaned into me, exhausted, and for a brief moment, I almost felt pity. Almost. But then I remembered her laugh in the shadows, her hands in his jacket, his lips on hers, and the pity turned to steel. "Maybe," I whispered, my voice low and steady. "They're finally seeing the real you." He didn't catch it. He was too tired, too distracted. But I smiled into my glass, the taste of victory as sharp as the wine on my tongue. That was just the beginning. The cracks had formed, and soon everything he built, everything he thought defined him, would crumble. The morning sun spilled through the curtains, but instead of warmth, it only brought a hollow chill. Ethan had left early, kissing me on the cheek as he claimed he was catching a flight for a 2-day business trip. His suitcase rolled behind him, his cologne lingering long after the front door shut. I had learned not to trust his business trips. Dad had called me later that afternoon. His voice was calm, but there was a dangerous undercurrent, the kind that made boardrooms quake. "Claire," he said, "I've uncovered something." My stomach clenched. "What is it?" "I hired someone to follow him, to watch him when he thinks you're not watching. Do you know where he is right now?" I swallowed. "At the airport?" A humorless laugh escaped him. "No, he's not boarding any flight. He's at a house he bought 3 months ago, for her." The words landed like a blade straight to my chest. A house. Not just hotel rooms, not just fleeting shadows. A house meant permanence. A house meant commitment. I gripped the phone tighter. "Her?" "Yes," Dad said, his tone grim. "The woman you saw at the party. Her name is Vanessa Grant. And there's more. She was once my neighbor's daughter, my childhood friend's girl. I know her family. I watched her grow up." I staggered back, my knees weak. My father's voice lowered, almost like he didn't want me to hear it. "She's not just a fling, Claire. She's his mistress, and he's building a second life with her." The floor seemed to tilt beneath me. My chest tightened until I couldn't breathe. "He bought her a house?" I whispered. "Yes. Paid in full. Papers in her name. He's been funneling money from accounts he thought I wouldn't trace. He's still with her. Right now." Tears burned down my cheeks. The betrayal deepened with every word. Not only was he cheating, he was investing in her, building her dreams with the life that should have been ours. Dad's voice softened. "Come home, Claire. We'll handle this together." That evening, I sat across from him in his study, my hands wrapped around a glass of whiskey I didn't drink. My father leaned forward, his gaze steady, his presence grounding me like an anchor in a storm. "You don't deserve this, Claire," he said. "No woman does, but especially not you. He humiliated you in public, lied to you in private, and now he's wasting everything on her. We will not let him win." I wiped my tears with the back of my hand. I thought I could handle it. I thought revenge would be enough, watching him lose his career, watching him squirm. But this? My voice broke. "A house, Dad. He's building a home with her, while he still shares mine." My father's jaw clenched. "Then we'll confront them, together, tonight." I stared at him, my heart racing. "At the house?" He nodded. "Yes, you need to see it. You need to look them in the eye, and he needs to know the kind of hell he's unleashed." I drew in a shaky breath, anger slowly overpowering the ache. "Then let's go." The house sat in a quiet neighborhood, lights glowing warmly through the windows. It looked picture perfect, with flower beds framing the porch and a car in the driveway. If I hadn't known better, I might have thought it was a family home, waiting for laughter and love inside. Instead, it was a tomb of betrayal. Dad parked the car, and for a moment, we sat in silence. My chest heaved, and my palms were slick with sweat. My father reached over, placing his hand over mine. "Remember, Claire," he said, "you are not the victim here. You are the storm." I nodded, wiping the last of my tears. Then, together, we walked up the path and rang the bell. It was Vanessa who opened the door. She was barefoot, wearing one of Ethan's shirts. Her lips curled into a smirk when she saw me standing there. "Well," she drawled, leaning against the frame, "if it isn't the wife." Rage clawed up my throat, but before I could speak, a familiar voice called from inside. "Vanessa? Who's at the door?" And then Ethan appeared, his expression collapsing the moment his eyes met mine. He froze, the color draining from his face. "Claire?" His voice was a whisper, trembling. "What? What are you doing here?" My father stepped forward, his voice booming with authority. "We came to see the house you bought. Quite the investment, Ethan. Shame you forgot to mention it to your wife." Ethan's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. He looked like a trapped animal, panicked and desperate. I stepped inside, brushing past Vanessa, my heels clicking on the hardwood floors. I took in the sight, our money, our life, poured into her furniture, her walls, her dreams. "This is what you've been doing," I said, my voice shaking with fury. "While I lay awake, wondering why my husband was turning into a stranger, you were building this? A love nest?" "Claire, please," Ethan stammered, reaching for me. "It's not what it looks like." "Don't you dare," I snapped, stepping back. "Don't you dare insult me again with your pathetic excuses. I know everything." Vanessa laughed, folding her arms. "You're pathetic, Claire, standing here like some scorned wife. Do you know what he tells me when he's with me? That you're cold, that you're boring, that he's only with you because of your father's money and connections." Her words hit like bullets. But I stood my ground. "You think he loves you?" I asked, my voice low but steady. "You're just his distraction, his toy. And when he's done, when you're old news, he'll toss you aside just like this house." Her eyes narrowed. "At least he wants me. At least he touches me. You're unwanted, unloved. That's why he came to me in the first place." For a moment, the air left my lungs. The room blurred. But then, something inside me hardened, sharper than grief, stronger than heartbreak. I pulled my phone from my purse and dialed without hesitation. The line clicked, and a reporter's voice answered. "This is Claire Reynolds," I said, my voice steady and cold. "I have a story for you. My husband, Ethan Reynolds, senior account manager at Holloway & Co., has been carrying on a months-long affair with a woman named Vanessa Grant. He bought her a house with stolen marital assets. Yes, I have proof. Yes, I'm willing to go on record." The room went silent. Ethan's face went pale, his eyes wide with horror. "Claire, what did you just do?" I ended the call, sliding my phone back into my purse. Then I turned to him, my eyes burning with fire. "I destroyed you," I said quietly. "And this is just the beginning." Vanessa scoffed, but I could see the flicker of fear in her eyes. Ethan sank onto the couch, his hands trembling, his world crumbling right in front of him. My father placed a hand on my shoulder, his voice firm and steady. "You chose this path, Ethan. Don't blame anyone but yourself." I looked at them both one last time. My husband, the man who had once been my everything, and the woman who thought she could take my place. And I vowed, right there, in that stolen house, I would burn their little paradise to the ground. The next morning, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. News alerts, emails, messages from friends I hadn't heard from in years. Ethan's face was plastered across headlines. Rising executive caught in explosive affair. Holloway & Co. account manager buys Mistress house with company funds. Cheating scandal rocks city firm. I sat at the breakfast table, coffee in hand, scrolling through the avalanche of stories. Photos of Ethan and Vanessa outside the house, grainy shots taken by the investigator my father hired, were already circulating. Comment sections were brutal, tearing him apart, calling him a fraud, a cheat, a coward. And the best part? Every detail I had fed the media. The stolen marital assets, the house in her name, the betrayal, was front and center. By mid-morning, Ethan stormed into the house, tie askew, hair disheveled, his phone clutched in his hand like a weapon. "Claire!" he roared. "What the hell did you do?" I looked up calmly from my coffee. "Oh, I just told the truth. People seem very interested in it." He slammed his phone onto the table, his hands trembling. "You've ruined me. My career, my reputation, it's all gone." I arched a brow. "No, Ethan. You ruined yourself. All I did was shine a light on it. He paced the kitchen like a caged animal, muttering under his breath. The board called an emergency meeting. Clients are pulling out. My boss wants answers. I could lose everything. A bitter laugh escaped me. Good. That's exactly what you deserve. Later that day, Dad called to update me. His tone was calm, but I could hear the satisfaction beneath it. Holloway and Co. has suspended Ethan pending an internal investigation, he said. Word is, they want to distance themselves quickly. Too much bad press. The shareholders are nervous. I closed my eyes, relief washing over me like a tide. So it's happening. Yes, Dad confirmed, and it's only going to get worse for him. The media frenzy hasn't peaked yet. I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. Good. I want him to feel what I felt. I want him to wake up every day wondering what will crumble next. You'll have it, Dad said firmly. He chose this path. Now he'll pay the price. Meanwhile, Vanessa wasn't taking it well. 2 days after the story broke, she showed up at my house, pounding on the door until I opened it. She looked haggard, her once perfect hair messy, mascara streaked down her face. This is all your fault, she screamed the moment I appeared. You've ruined us. The press won't leave us alone. My neighbors know, my family knows. I can't even step outside without people whispering. I folded my arms. Good. Maybe now you know what it feels like to have your life shattered. Her eyes blazed with fury. You think you've won? He still loves me. He comes to me, not you. You can't take that away. A sharp laugh burst out of me. Love? Do you honestly believe that man is capable of love? He told me forever while building a home with you. Do you think you're special? You're just the next chapter in his lies. When he gets bored, he'll move on, just like he did with me. Her lip trembled, but she masked it with anger. At least I was enough to make him leave you. The words stung, but I didn't flinch. Instead, I leaned forward, my voice low and steady. He never left me. He hid you. He lied about you. That's not love, Vanessa. That's shame. She faltered, her bravado cracking, and for a moment I saw it. The fear. She was beginning to realize she wasn't the queen of his world. She was just the pawn. I straightened, my eyes burning with fire. Enjoy your house while you can, because when this is over, there won't be a penny left to pay for it. And with that, I shut the door in her face. That night, Ethan tried again. He stood in our bedroom, his suit wrinkled, his eyes bloodshot. Claire, please, we can fix this. We can get through it. I stared at him, incredulous. You think there's a world where I forgive you? Where we smile for the cameras and pretend this never happened? He stepped closer, desperation bleeding through his voice. I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. But I love you, Claire. I don't want to lose you. The words that once would have melted me now felt like poison. You already lost me, I said coldly. And soon, you'll lose everything else too. His face crumpled, panic flashing in his eyes. Don't do this to me. I lifted my chin. I'm not doing anything, Ethan. You did this to yourself. I'm just making sure the world sees it. By the end of the week, Ethan's name was synonymous with scandal. His company announced his termination. Headlines branded him a cheat and a fraud. Vanessa was hounded by reporters outside her new house, her face splashed across tabloids as the mistress who ruined a marriage. And me? I was done being the broken, betrayed wife. I was rising from the ashes.